Hi, my name is Stephanie and I am an Adult Services Librarian at Santa Clara City Library Central Park. In today's Comic-Con at Home craft video, I will be showing you how to make DIY comic book magnets. Let's go ahead and review the supplies that we'll need in order to make this craft. Mod Podge, magnets, circle and square glass pieces. These could be found at most craft stores. A small paintbrush, scissors. So these are examples of the magnets that we will be creating in this video. I went ahead and made these before, and as you can see, they have the magnet attached to the back. We're going to go ahead and set those down and get started. So as you can see, I have my glass pieces set out in front of me. I have both circles and squares. So the first thing we're going to do is begin by opening up our comic book. For this particular comic book, I had already identified a picture that I wanted to use. So when you open up the cover of some comic books, there are smaller versions of other comics in there, and these tend to be a good size. Using my circular piece of glass as a guide, I'm going around and seeing which images fit inside of it. This is important because we want to make sure whichever image we choose fits within the shape. I am then going to grab a pencil and trace around it. We are then going to grab our pair of scissors and then cut out the circular shape that we traced before. So as you can see, this is what the cutout circle should look like. We are then going to grab our Mod Podge. So my suggestion for using the Mod Podge is using a brush like the one that I have in this video, and we are not going to oversaturate the piece of comic that we have. Basically, you should just dip it in. It should look white like this, and we are going to apply 2 to 3 layers. It should look transparent when you're putting it on. You shouldn't really see any of the whiteness. If you do, just rub it out. I went ahead and added about 2 to 3 layers for my magnets, and then as you can see, I went back in and added a little bit more to the areas that I felt were dry. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our circular piece of glass and place it on top of the piece of paper, and we are going to gently press and rub out any air bubbles. And then once it's ready, we're going to let it dry off for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we are going to go back in and add our magnet. So using a pre-cut piece of paper, I am going to show you how to use the square glass shape. As you can see, I am measuring to see what part of the image fits within the glass, and I am now going to trace it with a pencil and then cut it out. So one important thing to note is that when you're cutting out, you either want to cut along the inside of the part that you traced or directly on the line. You don't want to cut outside of it, only because we don't want pieces of paper sticking out of the piece of glass that we're using. So in my case, I like to cut a little bit inside the lines just to ensure that it fits perfectly. And again, we're going to go through the process of adding very thin layers of Mod Podge to the piece of paper that we're using. I like to do 2 to 3 layers, and just remember, don't go too heavy with the Mod Podge. Little bits go a long way. We are then going to add our square piece of glass and gently press it together. We are then going to begin the process of adding our magnet now that the piece of paper and glass are stuck together. So as you can see, I'm going to add a bit of glue to the back of the magnet. This is the back side of the paper, and so It's not very visible, so I apologize for that. And then I am going to add my magnet and press down. Right now, given that the Mod Podge is still wet, it is likely to slide around. So I would suggest placing this on a flat surface. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. And I am going to let it dry. I am then going to repeat this process with the square magnet so you can see what it looks like. I believe this one was a little bit better in focus, so it should be easier to see. So again, it's just adding a glob of Mod Podge to the back and then sticking on the magnet and then letting it dry for a few minutes. So these are what my completed magnets look like. I'm really happy with how they came out and with how easy this craft is to replicate. And I'm really excited to try this out with other paper. I feel like it could be done with so much. And if you do end up making this craft, I hope you share an image of your completed magnets with us. We would love to see what they look like. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Please stay tuned for other craft and cooking videos made by Santa Clara City Library staff. Have a great day.